thanks for tuning in and joining us. You know, we're talking about seed starting right now, so I thought I'd take you through some of the equipment that you might find very helpful and useful to have before you start your seeds. So you'll want to gather these things before you even get started. So a couple of things to start with. We want to have something to put our seeds in. We need some kind of container system. So this is what's called a pony pack. These ones are made out of plastic. You can get things that are biodegradable. You can use whatever makes you happy. You can use peat pots. You could do soil blocking. Whatever works for you. You just have to have some kind of system and some kind of container in order to start your seeds. You want to make sure that they have good drainage. So you can see I've got drainage holes here, and I've also got a tray for these to go into, and you can see that the tray also has drainage holes, and that's really important. If we let water sit in these containers while our seeds germinate, we can end up with diseases, we can end up with all kinds of problems. So drainage is very important. So whatever you use, if you have to poke holes in the bottom, whatever you use, that works out well. Other things you need, some way to label. I use popsicle sticks with a Sharpie marker, works out great. And then when I go to transfer things into the garden, I know what I've got where, because sometimes in a system like this, I'll have sometimes 3, sometimes 2 different kinds of plants in that system, and I want to make sure that they're labeled well. Another thing is a plastic dome. This should just go right down over whatever system you're using, and this will help to keep moisture and humidity in with our seeds. So to get seeds to germinate, we have to have moisture so that they'll imbibe, and that means that the seed is taking up all of that water and swelling. And then we have to keep that kind of stable while these seeds germinate and get going and put down root systems. And it's very, very important that we maintain that moisture, but not too much moisture. So that's where that drainage comes in. Another thing that you may want to pick up is a heat mat. So these are really nice heat mats. They can be a little bit pricey, but these will go right underneath the system that you're using. So I would slide my system right on top of this mat, and that is going to provide heat. Now you can pick up a thermostat that goes on the end of this heat mat that will let you dial in the temperature really, really well. So if you want to be at 70 degrees or 65 degrees for your soil temperature, because some seeds need different soil temperatures to germinate the best. So you may want to pick up one of those so that you can get some really good control of the environment of the seedlings. The other thing, and this is the thing that people tend to skimp on, because it's expensive, and I know it is, but the most important thing is light. And so this is the one piece that you should not skimp on. This is an LED light. It is a pretty high-end light. I went kind of for the gusto here because we're going to be using this a lot at the USU Botanical Center. And let me plug it in and show you what it does. It's pretty cool, but we want to make sure we have a good light source, something that has full spectrum light, which means all the colors in the rainbow, or you can use red and blue light together. Plants don't take up green light, they reflect green light, so that's the one piece that we don't necessarily need. So this is a full spectrum light, and it has some pretty cool controls. I can control the brightness, so you can see I get brighter and less bright, and I can also control the warmth, so I can do a little more red light, I can do more blue light, or I can be right in between. So I'm actually going to run this right in between. But I want to make sure that I have the light, I have it available. Some seeds need light to germinate, so it's important that I have that light on right from the get-go. And then once they germinate and start going, I want that light to be right above my seeds, so an inch or 2 above where my seedlings are and where they're coming up. I don't want them to touch the light, but I want it to be right above. So a window typically isn't enough light, so you might have to invest in a really good light. So those are some of the things that will help you get started. Thanks so much for joining, and